Hi readers, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper, or welcome if this is your first time. I'm happy that you're all here. I'm happy that I'm here. Thanks for your patience again after I found myself the victim of yet another virus. I had COVID, then I had walking pneumonia, and then I had norovirus. So that is a shorter span, apparently, so I'm feeling better today. Not 100%, but definitely better. And just hoping that whatever this next virus is, it walks on by because I've had enough. I took care of the baby on Saturday, and my daughter got sick the next day, but the baby had some pretty intense stomach diarrhea problems. Then the next day, my daughter said she thought she had food poisoning, and then I got sick Sunday night, and I thought maybe I had food poisoning too. And then her husband was sick, and then we realized when I went to the urgent care that it was norovirus. So we're done. I'm done. I'm going to be well the rest of the year. Today, we're going to talk about most anticipated reads for the month of March. I wanted to get this out sooner, but obviously I just needed to take some time and rest. So we're going to talk about, I think, 10 or 11 books today. And I'm really excited about a couple of these, and I'll tell you why. Of course, I'm always excited about them, but there's a couple of them that really, I can't wait. So let's start with March 4th, and what's coming out on that date. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is The Dream Hotel by Layla Lalami. I may have talked about this before as a haul. I'm pretty sure I maybe did. But I got it from the salon that they do at Tertulia Books, which I don't know how often they do that, but it was really fun. They share a number of new releases, and then you can enter to win an ARC if you would like to, or to get an ARC. And I chose this one, and this is the one I got. This one is super exciting to me. This would be more speculative sci-fi range. This is Sarah, who landed at LAX, and she is coming home from a conference that she's just attended, and the Risk Assessment Administration pulls her out and says that they've discovered that she's soon going to commit a crime based on her dreams that they monitor. They apparently monitor everyone's dreams with the Risk Assessment Administration, the RAA. She is then put into a hotel with a number of other women who had some unsavory dreams as well, I guess, and they are sent there to chill out. I don't know what they do as a result of this, but I can't wait to get to this. I cannot wait to finish my Mardi Gras readathon books and titles and then get onto this as well. So this is probably one of the first ones on my list, even though March is middle grade March and March is Mystery Madness. But I mean, I think this is a mystery as well as a sci-fi. It's a mystery thriller sci-fi, I'm sure. And then another one that comes out on March the 4th is Dream Count. And this one, I guess we'll put the dreams together, right? Like this is quite something. This is by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I hope I said that right. I always worry about it, but I hear other people say it a good bit of the time. And so I'm hoping that I'm actually pretty close on this one, but we'll see. This is literary fiction. It is getting some good buzz about it. So I feel like this is something that I could consider getting and reading. I don't know if it'll be right away in March. I love this cover. It really draws me in to try to understand what that represents completely. But this author wrote Americana and We Should All Be Feminists. And this is a story of four women and the loves that they've had, the longings that they still have, the desires that they still have for something different in their lives. So the main character is Chiamaka, and she's Nigerian. She's a traveling writer living in America. And she's in this set in the pandemic. So she is thinking about her life. She's thinking about the people she's been in relationship with. She's thinking about the choices she made. She's thinking about her regrets. I venture to say a lot of us did these kinds of reflections during the pandemic because we were slowed down in many ways and we were just looking at things from a different perspective. And then her friend Zikora, who is a lawyer and has been very successful in her practice until she was somehow betrayed and she has to return to somebody that she thought she would never have to be connected to again as a result of that. And then there's Omologar, which I can't say that could possibly be on target for how you pronounce that name, but I couldn't find a pronunciation for it. So she is Chimaka's cousin, and she's very outspoken and she's very powerful in Nigeria, and she starts to think deeply about how well she's connected to who she really is, like her authentic self. What is it about her that is truly her, and what is important about that? And then finally, Kadiatau. I'm not sure, but this is Chiamaka's housekeeper, and she's raising a daughter in America, and she's facing something that is really going to change her life. And I don't know what it is, but it sounds like it could be that she's not going to be allowed to stay in the United States anymore. I'm not certain. So Dream Count really looks at our self-love, our self-respect, I guess, for what's happened, our healing, and our ability as women to really kind of connect back to ourselves and to what really matters. And it's propulsive and poignant, and it's really heartfelt, and it's not for everyone, for sure. But I feel like this would be a book that I would get really connected to. I love books like this, and it's not necessarily even a coming of age. It's almost a coming of reintegration into self. So that sounds wonderful to me. And for 5 days more, you can enter on Goodreads to win a free copy of this book. So if you're watching this and it's within 5 days of when it posts, then you're able to take advantage of that. And good luck to you, because I very, very rarely win Goodreads giveaways. So the next one is a book by an author that I read part of one of her books before and didn't finish it, which I've always felt kind of bad about because a lot of people really loved it. But this is One Good Thing by Georgia Hunter. We were the lucky ones. I don't know why. I couldn't make it work. But I'm not saying I couldn't try this one, and I'm not saying that I couldn't get back to We Were the Lucky Ones at some point. I unhauled it because it just didn't seem like I was ever going to get back to it. But this one's also getting a good amount of buzz, but not a lot of ratings so far. Not a lot of people have looked at it. But this one starts in 1940, and it's about 3 college graduates who have been together and have bonded in that college experience. So that's Amelia, Lily, and Esty. And Esty has a son, Theo, who is born. And when that happens, they're even more sort of cohesive, because they're coming together to support their friend, and they love their little guy. And so they're really basically like found family, which you know how I love found family. But things happened in Italy in 1940, as we know, and so their lives are completely changed and shifted because 2 of those girls, Lily and Esty, are deemed as Jewish, and they must do something to support themselves because they're in occupied territory. So what they do is they flee to find some place where they will be safe, and they end up in a convent in France, which does really interest me. They are trying to be safe there, but I think something happens and they have to maybe split up, but their focus is really to keep themselves alive, but also to take care of the baby, to take care of Theo, who's probably growing along the way. Friendship and motherhood and survival during that period of time sounds really like my thing. But again, I'm just going to kind of wait and listen and see who's reading it and how they feel about it. And that'll give me a better sense of whether or not I think I should give this a try. All right, so the next one is written by someone who I kind of have a connection to. So this is a guy who wrote a nonfiction work, and his wife is a coach, and I've known her for a while. We connect pretty frequently, and she just happened to one day say that her husband had this new book coming out, this year, and this was a while ago. And then recently I said, well, I could talk to him and interview him on my YouTube channel. And so we had an appointment set up, and then we had a death in the family, so I had to reschedule him. But I do plan to work with him and have an interview and maybe have this live on the YouTube channel. And so after I tell you about this, if you have questions about this book or anything you want me to ask him, put it in the comments below so I can do that when I get that scheduled and when we do that. I don't know that we're going to get that video out before March 4th, but any kind of publicity in the first month of a person's book release is a good thing for them, right? So I'm hoping that this will work really well for Russell. So this is Taking Manhattan, the extraordinary events that created New York and shaped America. I think that this is content that I really know nothing about. So in 1664, England decided to invade the Dutch-controlled city of New Amsterdam, which is on Manhattan Island. So that's how this all, kind of begins to evolve. And Richard Nichols, who led the English into this space, he was bent on destroying this part of the world, and he just really wasn't a great guy. It reveals how New York was founded, what happened as a result of this takeover, and what negotiations led to the change that that they needed to have occur so that we could have New York as a city and a state in our country today. This is really what a lot of people think is the birth of the first real modern city in the United States, which I would agree. I kind of have that same perspective as well. But what it also does is it talks about how we had promise and how we fulfilled that promise versus how we maybe failed to meet those goals. And he found some work, or finds some work in his research that he does for these books that he writes, that they're saying is really astonishing, and things that have maybe never been revealed before. So I think he's a great historian. I think he's a great writer, and I can't wait to take a look at this and have a conversation with him. So I hope you'll join us. This next one is called You Killed Me First by ever popular John Mars, who has written so many mystery thrillers, psychological thrillers. I can't even begin to tell you. I don't think I've read anything completed by this man, but I've started a few and just not gotten back to them. Not because of the books, just because of the timing. But this one looks really intriguing to me. I have a feeling it's going to be very, very popular. So it says, 3 women, 3 smoldering secrets, who will make it out alive, which is a very compelling synopsis, short synopsis. But it begins by saying that it's November 5th, and a woman awakens to find out that she is tied up, bound, and gagged and in a bonfire, and that she's minutes away from being burned to death. And question then is, how did this happen? So then you rewind and go back in time and you find out these women and how they're connected. So Margot is a TV star that's no longer particularly popular, her friend Anna, and someone named Liv, and somebody moves onto the street, so they meet each other or get to know each other, and then they start to pretend like they have this great friendship, but internally I think they're having some different experiences. Something goes awry, and this woman ends up being almost, or maybe, burned to death. But which one is it that's actually burned to death? We don't know. Either Margot or Anna or Liv. And it is set up for a giveaway as well for 5 days on Kindle. So if that's something you want to enter into on Goodreads, I would encourage you to do that quickly. The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Lori Gilmore comes out on the 13th of March. You know, I have recently read all of the books by Lori Gilmore in this Dream Harbor series that have been released. And so I have been anticipating the Strawberry Patch Pancake House for sure. I have grown to love these for a couple of reasons. One, because they are easy, quick reads, and they're great palate cleansers for me, and I really enjoy a palate cleanser. I think they're well written. They're pretty steamy. I've said this before, so be mindful of that. But also, they take this Dream Harbor town and they kind of introduce you to a new couple each time, and you know going in what's going to happen, right? You just follow them, with also bringing back some of the stories of the people that you've already read about and grown to like a lot or love. And so I think I'm going to give this 4th one a try. I think this could go on for a really long time, and I don't know how long I'll stay with it, but for now I'm still thinking that this is going to be one that I add to my TBR. And I usually put them in on Kindle, but again, they're available in other formats. Steamy romance, 384 pages, and it has a 3.73 average rating at the moment, but there's a lot of people that really love Lori Gilmore's books. And again, I really am a fan. Love might be a strong word, but I like them a lot. So the next one is called Who is Government? The Untold Story of Public Service, and this is written by Michael Lewis. You may remember Michael Lewis from previous books that he's published. I definitely do. And this one is really unique to me. I think this is a unique, it's a number of stories collected in this one book. It's 272 pages or so it's not hefty. But what Michael Lewis does is he goes and he asks a bunch of people who work for the government, what is it exactly that you do for the government? Help us understand what your focus is and what outcomes you have as a result of your work and influence on what happens. We are in the midst of a lot of controversy around, and it's not going to be political here. Trust me, definitely not wanting to go there, but there's a lot of dissension amongst the American public about what we pay for, what we support, what we rely upon, what's absolutely needed, what's not absolutely needed, and what's the answer to all these questions, right? And so he invites some of his favorite authors to take part in this product, which I think is fascinating. And he asks them to find somebody who's doing an interesting job for the government and write about it. These stories are they're saying they're very compelling. They're sort of surprising, inspiring. So somebody interviewed a former coal miner who was devoted to making mine roofs and helping to stop them from collapsing on people, right? So we've heard of those situations happening, trying to prevent that from occurring. An IRS agent that they're saying is straight out of a crime thriller, which makes me want to know more for sure. And the manager of the National Cemetery Association, which is really ranked as the best run organization, public or private, in the government. That's quite something. That's quite an honor to be recognized in that way. So each essay spotlights something essential that's happening in the government that maybe we weren't even aware of before, or someone, obviously, that is unique that we really weren't aware of before. So I think this is fascinating, and I definitely want to read this. The next one is by Emma Donoghue, also comes out on 18 March, and this is called The Paris Express. Now, I have a couple of Emma Donoghue novels I have not read. I hate to say that to you, but it's true. Emma Donoghue wrote Room, and she also wrote The Pull of the Stars, which is one of the ones I definitely have. And there's another one I have on my Kindle, and I can't remember the name of it. But this is based on an 1895 disaster that happened really in Paris. And I'm going to read this to you because I feel like it's really compelling. And some of these I just feel like I'd rather read to you than give you a synopsis. This disaster that went down in history was captured in a series of surreal, extraordinary photographs. The Paris Express is a propulsive novel set on a train packed with a fascinating cast of characters who hail from as close as Brittany and as far as Russia, Ireland, Algeria, Pennsylvania, and Cambodia. Members of Parliament hurry back to Paris to vote. A medical student suspects a girl may be dying. A secretary tries to convince her boss of the potential of moving pictures. Two of the train's crew build a life away from their wives, and a young anarchist makes a terrifying plan, and much more. Like, how much could there be in a novel that's 288 pages? I don't know, but this sounds fascinating. And so the fact that it's connected to a disaster on a Paris train, but it's also possibly documented in photos, is quite something to me. I just want to know more, and I think I just need to get this book. I'm kind of hoping that this is a Book of the Month Club selection for the month of March, because it feels like something the Book of the Month Club would get their teeth around. So this is what happens when you watch YouTube and somebody talks about a book, and then you discover that there are 4 books in this series, and one of them's coming out in March. On March the 18th as well. And you want to read it, but you want to discover if you need to read books 1, 2, and 3 before you get to book 4. So hopefully one of you or more of you have read these books and you can tell me, but this is a library game. The Secret Staircase Mystery #4 by Gigi Pandian. And this is a cozy mystery. So this is my first cozy brought forward for this list. And it is Tempest, Raj, and the Secret Staircase Construction are renovating a detective fiction library that just got its first real life mystery. So while they are working on this construction of this library, which is known for how it was originally created and how they can really renovate it to be in the condition it was when it was first constructed. The new owner of this library is really eager to get this done because he wants to host a murder mystery themed dinner and invite a bunch of people in and have an escape room. You know, I love a closed circle, locked door mystery. You know I do. I don't regret it. I don't have any qualms about having a love for these, but there are so many of them, it's hard for me to get to them. So the Gray House Library's new owner is like pushing this to complete, right? Then something terrible happens in the library and they have to discover what happened and who did it. And it sounds really great. And I don't know that I would have to. A lot of cozies, you don't really have to go back to the beginning. But if somebody can let me know that, that would be great because I don't want to miss a thing. So this author has a number of series available too. So that's important for you to know that she's no slouch here on this whole place. So the first one in this series is Under Lock and Skeleton Key. Then #2 is The Raven Thief. #3 might be my favorite title of all, and that's A Midnight Puzzle. And then, of course, the fourth one is, I just said it to you and I can't remember, The Library Game. So I don't know that they're all locked room, closed circle, but this one is. And again, she's written a lot of stuff, as a lot of cozy mystery writers have. So I think that this would be fun for me, but also for so many of you. But if you've read these, let me know if they're good and what you think about them. And then the last one I'm having a little trouble with. So the resurgence of Wicked as a novel, movie, Broadway show is high, right? The vibes around Wicked are really, really elevated for the first time in a while. I've always loved Wicked. I started with the book and then went to watch the show, the Broadway show, more than once, and then recently watched the movie and absolutely loved it. Now, this one is called Elfie, A Wicked Childhood, and it's expected to release on the 25th of March. And the premise of this is what happened to young Elphaba before she realized that she had any sort of powers that took hold of her in Wicked. And this is 30 years after Gregory Maguire has written Wicked. So it's been a hot minute or more. And this really reveals the story of young Elfie. She's probably was prickly and mean, a little bit sarcastic, and just all the things that you think of when you think of that character, both in the book as well as in the film, but also quiet, subdued, scared, obviously not fitting in. Here's my problem with this one. It has a very, very low rating. It has 198 people who have rated it and 154 people who have reviewed it, and the reviews are not great. They're not great. And that makes me very, very sad, but it is what it is. And so I'm trying to come to terms with that. Will we purchase it and add it to our Wicked collection, which is, I think it's, and if you see up there, it's pretty much there to maybe about there. I think we have, no, it's not that far. Right there. I don't think we have everything Gregory Maguire's ever written, but we're close. Have I read everything Gregory Maguire's ever written? No. But have we collected them? And in particular, my partner has collected them? Yes, absolutely. I want you to know it's coming. I want you to know it might not be for everyone. I want you to know it's not getting the best raves. It's kind of a heavy note to end this on today, but it is the truth, and I want you to know the truth. And I also am really kind of, I don't know, I have a feeling about this that is maybe a little difficult, but we shall see. So thanks for joining me today. Thanks for watching, for subscribing, for commenting. I am so grateful to you, especially when you are patient with me. I know you all are. You're so so helpful and you're so concerned about me when I say I'm sick. I really don't do that lightly, and I know and appreciate all of your well wishes that come in, and they're very sincere. So thank you so very much for that. If you can avoid the norovirus, I recommend that you do. Take good care of yourselves. Watch where you go. But it can't be helped. It just is. 'Tis the season, as they say. So thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your comments, your subscriptions, your recommendations, and as always, happy reading. Bye.